Hello and welcome to another Big Mish movement workshop. It's been a few weeks, I took a few weeks off, had to focus on some other few things and get a little bit of inspired on a few topics, but today I am inspired and I'm here to talk about head forward posture. A big one. A lot of people have trouble with head forward posture, and in fact, I've had quite a few clients in the last few weeks who've complained about neck tightness, all pretty much resulting from a head forward posture. A lot of stuck in front of the desk, a lot of people working extra long hours because we are working from home and just even more contributing to this pattern. But how do we solve this pattern? What is causing this pattern? There's a few things we should understand if we really want to better ourselves. Because forcing a good posture is never really going to be the right answer. We want to treat the patterns appropriately. We want to condition our body the right way to get ourselves feeling more upright, because the truth is, if we do work out the right way, we should feel a lot more upright naturally and hold up a more natural posture. And everything is in our power to unwind and undo a lot of these bad things that we're just constantly falling into, which is more of the issue, is what are we doing to combat the different things that are pulling us forward? And that's what I'm here to talk about today with you. Missed doing this, so I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent, and let's jump right into it. So head forward posture, what is causing it? Well, first of all, it's important to understand that the head is actually the most dense and it weighs the most of our body. As a lot of people know, this part weighs more than any other proportional section, and that definitely is going to cause a lot in terms of falling forward. But what some of the bigger factors, and this is something not everybody talks about, and I'm going to label it off. Number one is, I would say, one of the biggest factors our heads are all coming forward is eyesight. That's right, eyesight. If our eyes are bad, your head's gonna go forward. You're attempting to see better. We have two types of vision that we require: nearsighted, long-sighted, and humans were typically more trained for long-sighted throughout the history of our evolution because of hunter-gathering, and even probably agricultural days. We have to see off into the distance a lot more than we do in modern civilization, where everything's been pretty much narrowed to 2 feet. That's right, we spend our entire lives mostly looking at 2 foot, 4 foot, whatever, a very short distance, because we spend so much time in front of technology. And so therefore, the glasses we get usually help us see far, and therefore we don't have the right glasses to see close. Some people do, they have reading glasses, that's good, but most people, they don't have 2 sets of glasses to see the 2 different fields. And because we do have bad eyesight, and because we do spend so much time in front of that screens, causing more bad eyesight, it just sort of snowballs this pattern. And then, so guess what? Add the weight of your head to all of this stimulus of looking forward, this short, narrow-sighted of vision, our head is going to go further forward, and forward. And as a result of that, we get compensatory muscle tension, and mainly in the neck, because that is what's ultimately supporting your head, and so you get a lot of chronic neck tension. So eyes are a big deal, and how also the height of your screen also plays a big part. So, being able to work with that is very something that you should always be mindful of. And maybe if you can have a little bit more distance away from your screen, just food for thought. We spend way too much time in this close field of vision, which is why it's good to be aware of what that is doing to our posture. So I mentioned that number of muscle tension. So then let's just say you're already in a bad pattern. Let's say your eyesight already causes your head to come forward. And so you've developed some chronic tension here in your chest because your shoulders are always forward. And let's say you've developed some chronic tension here in your traps as well. Okay, so then these tension patterns, they're only gonna further facilitate on top of each other. Let's say you probably have some bad breathing on top of this, causing more of that to tense up, which I'm about to talk about in a second. That's only going to further cause this pattern because your shoulders are being tightened, they're being pulled forward, if your shoulders are being pulled forward, then your head's gonna go forward. And then if your head's gonna go forward, the neck muscle is gonna tighten up. So as you can see, everything's this big snowball that just goes further and further around. And so you wanna be aware of what is tight, but that's not the why is this tight. And that's what I was gonna say, breathing is the next part. This is huge. Breathing is a huge reason we get tight neck and tight traps. And tight necks and tight traps also further facilitate a head forward posture. Not necessarily, I would not say it's the be all and all. The eyesight is probably one of the biggest reasons, as well as head weight, of why a head's coming forward. However, like I said, muscle tension causes postural dysfunction, and breathing causes muscle tension, which will definitely cause postural dysfunction. So breathing is another big deal. That's a different topic for a different day if you want to talk about breathing, but it is very big. We want to be getting big, full of breaths, and guess what? If you're being stressed and pushed and writing those emails you don't want to write and doing anything that's just causing your body to just stress out, your breathing is going to be shallow, you're not going to be exhaling all the way. Excess carbon dioxide causes a lot of muscle tension, and then as you can see, it just kind of snowballs a pattern. So be mindful of the breathing. It actually will play a part into how we hold ourselves up. Good breaths usually equate to more upright posture. Lack of stability. So let's just say you just got a weak structure. Now this could be up here, or back here, excuse me. Maybe you have weak upper back, and so you're not able to really pull your shoulders back and have a lot of endurance there because you just aren't strong enough there. That could be one factor. How about general spinal stability? If you have a good strong core, good strong back muscles, it's just going to be simply easier for you to hold yourself up. And so when we don't have that, we're going to be in this state of rest a lot more, and then we're in the state of rest, the head comes forward. So that's why I said in the very beginning, exercise actually is one of the best things we can do for our posture. Just because it resets the patterns, it reciprocates, it undoes what we've been doing by doing the opposite of what we've been doing. And that's almost going to be what my last and final point of what we're not getting enough is. We're not getting enough reciprocation. Just picture this. If we are spending 8 hours a day, let's say you're working for 8 hours, but let's say we're doing more of that because we're on our phones, we're in front of the TV, maybe we're reading a book. We're spending so much time sitting, slouched forward, narrow-sighted vision. How many hours a day? Add that up for the week. Now, so what have you done to combat that throughout your week? That's why working out consistently is very important, because that's an hour block, 3 times a week, whatever, where you've done something to undo this static posture that you're in, providing you're doing the right exercises too, of course. So not enough reciprocation. If you're always like this, what are we even doing to get ourselves like this? And that's why I'm just the biggest pusher of working out the right way, balancing out our planes of motion, pushes with pulls, so that we're getting just a little bit of everything, a little bit of reciprocation, alternation, muscles on both sides of the body working. And when you've done that, you actually help align the body a lot better than when you walked in. So I will now give you 5 exercises that I personally like, good for posture, especially if you have this sort of head forward positioning. What can we do to kind of get ourselves out of it and get us a little bit more upright? And after, I'm going to demo these 5 exercises, and then afterwards we're going to go through a few more tips that you can just do to incorporate into your desk life, and hopefully that should help you with your head forward postural patterns. Let's get into some of these movement patterns real quick. So the first one that I really like is the bear crawl. I have a full demo on this on my YouTube, so you can go check it out if you want. The bear crawl is an excellent body weight core exercise that's going to force good straight postural mechanics. It's going to force you to pull your chin back. In terms of with our shoulder stability and our hunch forward, the way we're going to be pushing and locking our elbows out is going to enforce good mechanics here in the upper back. Then we have what we got going on at the hips, good length tension relationship between the quads and the hamstrings, and we've got good mobility of the toe. all fueled with core stability. Our lower back is probably not going to be working because of the position. Our core is going to be doing most of the work, so that's also good. And like I said, everything all together. So like I said, go check it out. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm just doing a quick little demo. You're going to have your hands right here, be in a nice box shape. Lift your knees off the floor. And first of all, we can just hold this position, and maybe we can take one arm away, take one arm away, take one arm away, take one arm away, or we can move, maybe backwards, come forward. Maybe we can lift one limb at a time. Okay, there's different ways we can do it, but just by holding yourself there, I'm already like really engaged along my posterior chain, minus the lower back, which is really good. Usually our posterior chain is very inactive, except the lower back and the neck, which the cervical neck right here, which from all this extension, holding our head forward. This makes our back very flat and allows all the weak muscles to be doing a lot more of the work. Core is also working. So, like I said, bear crawl is a great one. Knees off the floor, stay in the box shape. Maybe you can move one limb at a time, whatever it takes, take it nice and slow. Just being in that, it's gonna be really, really good. Let's flip it around now. Another core exercise. This one, you're gonna be on your back. We're gonna lift our knees in a 90-degree position, holding that while our chest and lower back is completely open. I've recently done a video of this as well. You can go check it out, but let's just talk about it quickly. Grab a roller or a yoga block. We're gonna put that between our knees. This is to keep our inner thighs, adductors locked on. They support our hips and help activate our core further. Like I said, you're going to lay down on your back like this. Chest nice and open, so that we want to make sure our chest gets stretched, get a nice stretch out of this. The lower back, we want to press that down into the floor, so sucking that belly button, dropping our ribs down a little bit. And from here, we're going to lift our knees and just hold it in the 90-degree position and breathe deeply. All the way in, all the way out. Especially as you exhale all the way, you should feel your lower back dropping to the floor. That's good stuff. We want to reduce lower back extension. As much as we think we want to rise and extend our posture like this, we don't want to be driving it from our lower back too much, because that's going to ultimately, look what's happening, bring your head forward. So we want to bring a little more neutrality. This exercise helps pull the ribs down, open up the chest, and helps align the body just a little bit better. On to the next one. So, deadlift. This is probably one of my favorites, especially if you work out with a heavy weight. The stimulation to lift that weight is only going to enforce good postural mechanics, because at the end of the movement, you're enforcing a nice, good posture as you stand up and erect yourself. I'm going to demonstrate with a light kettlebell, because that even works if that's all you have. Okay, so you want to make sure that your back is completely aligned. Okay, straddling the weight. You want your shoulder blades just over your shin, so your arms are vertical down to pick up the weight. Shin bones are vertical. The biggest mistake I see people make is they lift with their neck. And that, once you lift with your neck, you cause a lot of neck extension, which results in a lot of back extension. Your head comes forward. We want to avoid that. We want a neutral spine to bring some neutrality back to our posture. So stare at the ground, bring your chest forward, shoulder blades just over your arms like this, over your shins like this as you grab the weight. Head looks at the floor, feet press through the floor as you exhale. As I come up, I want to look up and see the wide peripherals of the room. So don't just stare down, just look all the way up, chest nice and open. Secure the weight down, looking down. You don't want to look up. You want to make sure your head and your spine stay neutral. A couple more. Push through the floor. Get the peripheral of the room. One more. Chest open nice and wide, engaging your upper back. And as you set the weight down nice and carefully, that should also engage good mechanics of the upper back, just in terms of holding yourself up nice and straight. Here's another one. You could also do squat. I'm not the biggest fan of squat because usually the movement itself is a little difficult for people. People have limitations in the feet, people have limitations in the hip, and they end up way extending their back. And guess what? Again, the head comes forward. You can modify this by doing a goblet front squat. That's when we hold the weight in front. And if you're able to keep good form that way, that should actually help, because then if done right, we're doing some good mechanics. So it's kind of a make or break you. The squat's either going to enforce bad postural patterns, or if you do it right, it'll be good for you. So you have to kind of get it right. I would do unweighted, work on mobility, maybe holding onto something and just working your good depth, getting this nice pinch of the hips right here as you drop down, making sure your back is not going all the way into a hinge squat, which is what I just showed you. Deadlift is more of a hinge. The problem is when people can't squat, they hinge into their squat, which is what we don't want to do, and we also get a lot of irregular movement at the hips, especially at the bottom depth. So we hold the weight up here, and we also keep it nice and tight to us. Feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. Take a nice breath in, exhale, get your elbows to your knees, and up. So as you can see, the front squat allows you to hold yourself upright a little bit more by embracing the weight, which is what you're going to have to do. You're going to engage some more of the upper back, get some good alignment over there. So it's a good variation to try. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of squat, only because people tend to butcher it, make mistakes because their ankles or their hips aren't ready for the movement. But by holding the weight in front, that also changes the weight dynamics, so sometimes that can help you get a little bit more of a proper alignment. Last exercise I like to recommend is a chop. Reason being is because you're going to hold yourself as you chop across. This gets some of your obliques, this gets some of your connective tissue in a rotational plane, which is very important. And it's a bit like unwind the body. We wind it one way, you wind it the other way, and then it's going to stretch out in the end. Because we do rotate. We rotate a lot with every step we take, or sometimes lack of rotation, which is why we want to incorporate rotation into our exercise program. And when we do, again, you'll find that your posture will be more naturally held upright because we've attacked all the planes of the body. So you can attach this to a high point or even a low point. If we're going to go high, then we're going to chop down. I like to do a half kneeling position because of the hip mechanics. We're getting reciprocation as we do one side versus the other side. From this position, it's also going to prop me up so my spine is nice and tall, my head's nice and tall, and then from here, I chop. Notice I'm holding myself upright, my hips are locked in. As I'm chopping down the resistance. Going to the other side, you switch your stance. So now the other stance is working. You're getting your hips locked in, glutes on one side, adductors on the other side. Spine nice and straight, head nice and tall. Breathing all the way in, all the way out. Like I said, if you wanted to attach at a low point, same thing, you would just be chopping upwards. Chops you can do from 3 different angles, high, middle, low. They're all good, and just in terms of incorporating this rotation, which again we want on both sides. So those are 5 different things that you can do to help realign your posture. I'm already feeling like I'm able to hold myself up a little bit more after just sitting in front of a desk all day today. These movements work on engaging a lot of the weak muscles, but also, more importantly, is the reciprocation. You're moving back and forth. You're getting movement in. You're going one way, then you're going the other way. Because at the end of the day, if you're in front of a desk all day and your head's coming forward, you're doing that an awful lot. We need a little something to bring us back. We need a little something to engage this. We need a little something to also engage the core. Make it be able to hold you up with more ease so that you don't have to slouch, but you can actually hold yourself with ease. That's why we like to do some weight exercises, because loading or adding weights at the end of the day charges your nervous system and it makes it do more than it can normally do. That's how we get stronger. So I'm a big component of lifting weights, especially because resistance, like I said, gets nervous system awake, makes you stronger. And if we incorporate that with healthy movement planes, back and forth, twist one way, twist the other way, open up, close, shift, shift. Now we've covered all the basic planes and motions of the human body, the human connective tissue, our wonderful fascia, which designed and integrate us to move us in all these different ways. And if we're not utilizing that, we're not making the most of our body. So those are why I like those exercises. Go use them. If you need help, I've got some demos on them on my YouTube page, and they'd be really beneficial. Plus, some of them are standard exercises anyway that we should be doing a lot more of. Some closing tips to really help with this problem, especially if you're stuck in front of a desk and we can only take so many breaks to do exercises a day. What else can we do to help us with this problem? Number 1, release the pecs and maybe traps, but more so the pecs, because that's going to bring this forward and really restrict. So getting a little ball, or release ball, tennis ball, lacrosse ball, massaging it here, or even just stretching your pecs. One of the exercises, when I had the feet up, I was already had my arms out. That's purposely to get a nice pec stretch. You open up the pecs, you open up the breathing system. So food for thought is a pretty important one that you want to do. Traps are also important, but if you don't release this is going to come forward, and then this has to come forward. So that's why I say release the chest. That's probably one of your go-tos for relief. Number 2, another tip is the 180-degree view should be utilized. So we spend way too much time being tunnel visioned in, and so that naturally brings your head forward. If there's a way that you could spread out your work desk, maybe get 2 monitors and go one here, or put a monitor here and a keyboard here, so that you have a little bit of a shift going. We have a mouse on the right, so we're very naturally going to also lean to the right. So getting something that you can influence you to lean to the left, maybe, or influence you to reach to the right, whatever it is, whatever your habits are, just to counter that. Maybe you want to reposition your desk so that you got a little bit of a view out of your peripheral. That's a pretty good big deal, because you want to be able to look up and look around here and there. You don't want to be just stuck looking at a desk all the time. So what I say is the 180-degree view. It doesn't have to be, but just giving yourself a 180-degree view workspace to operate, allowing a little bit of movement here and there so that you're not just stuck in one place, tunnel visioned, because that's only going to bring your head forward. Okay? Sitting positions, changing that. So yeah, people want to, get a perfect ergonomic chair. That works. Having some kind of lumbar support is good. Sure, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you can feel your sitting bones from time to time and feel your heels. You can feel your sitting bones and heels, you're probably in a good postural position. And you can slouch a little bit too while feeling your sitting bones and heels, but in general, those are 2 good starting points. Feel my heels, feel my sitting bones. Now I'm a little bit more upright. Alternatively, some people like standing desks. I would say, how about keep the desk, get a pad and go into a half kneeling position like I did with the chops, or even double kneeling. When you do a half kneeling or double kneeling position, it automatically props your spine up. So, you know, something maybe you can alternate between sitting and going into half a kneeling position. Food for thought, something to mix it up so that you're not just constantly stuck on a chair, where our natural tendency will just be to slouching, and prop ourselves up once every half an hour. We want some variation. At the end of the day, there's no one posture that's going to get you through your workday. It's going to be variation. It's going to be movement. It's going to be getting a lunch break and doing a few exercises. It's going to be getting that quick coffee break and going for a walk around the block. It's going to be you changing from seat to half kneeling to maybe getting up, walking around the office 2 times and then getting back down in your chair. Variation is how you're going to handle sitting at a desk for hours and hours upon day, because at the end of the day, what are you doing to reciprocate? I'm saying that word over and over because if you're doing this for hours, you need something else, okay? So sitting positions, half kneeling positions, you can mess with that, play around with that. And then the last tip, like I kind of touched on it with the 180-degree view, is peripherals. At the end of the day, get out of tunnel vision. Tunnel vision will pull your head forward like nobody's business. So enjoy your peripherals. In fact, when we look forward as we walk, which is usually the really bad one, being in front of a desk, sure, you have to look forward. But when people walk and their heads are going forward, that's usually a really bad sign of lack of stability, bad eyesight, or your system just really, you're not trusting your walking pattern. What we want to be able to do is see up the horizon and see our peripherals. When you do that, the head holds itself up, and then the head holds itself up, muscles around here tend to relax. Looking up and seeing your peripherals will do wonders for your system, so take that advice as a golden nugget. It will really help you, especially with the head forward posture, because again, I can't emphasize enough, that is a state of tunnel vision more than anything else. So if we can cut that out by noticing our peripherals, you'll be surprised at how much more you're going to be holding your head up. That's about it. That's all I got for you for today in terms of tips, 5 exercises that you can do on your break, anything that you can do just to keep the dynamics flowing, because again, you need reciprocation to get you out of this state. So keep the body moving. Keep it active, keep changing things so that you're looking different places, reaching different places, and sitting, kneeling, doing different positions. That's the dynamics of the human body. Keep it moving, and then that's what helps our posture the most. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. I'll be glad to answer it because I love hearing from you guys. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will be more consistent with these workshops. And again, if you ever want me to cover a topic, I would love for you to write to me and tell me what you want me to cover, because I'm gladly talk about it and do some research for you guys on that, whatever it may be. That's it for today. I don't think I have any live questions today. Yeah, what's up? Hey, they just opened. I went for my first session at Jam. I hope to be there soon again. So hopefully that's it. Tune in again next time, guys. And keep the body moving, and don't forget to have more effort, focus, and joy when you move, because that's what our bodies are meant for. Take care. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.